Beyonce's internet,
That's what we're calling
that
it.
belongs to the devil. Unless you calling that the devil, she ain't nothing but an employee.
What happens when the people closest to the throne start running away? Not just stepping back, but fleeing into complete and total silence? We're about to connect a series of events that, on their own, could be dismissed as drama. But when you lay them out end to end, they form a blueprint of control.
She was hypnotized. She was. Beyonce came and she was in there eating on her and shit while she was asleep. No snacking on his big people cats.
Of fear and of what it truly takes to protect a billion-dollar legacy. Long before the internet put Beyoncé and Jay-Z under a microscope, the cracks were already showing. And the first person to take a sledgehammer to those cracks was Jaguar Wright. She didn't just leak secrets, she launched a full-scale exposé. She spoke of a world the public never sees, of rituals disguised as parties, of manipulation disguised as mentorship, and of a spiritual undercurrent that controls everything. Her claims about Beyoncé were so graphic, so specific, they felt like a violation of the carefully crafted image we've all been sold. The world's response? They dismissed her. They called her a liar, a clout chaser, someone bitter about her own place in the industry. But a funny thing happens when you silence a truth teller. Their words don't disappear. They lie in wait, gathering power until the world finally catches up. And now, the world is catching up. But Jaguar was never the only source. She was just the loudest in a chorus of warnings. Consider Kimberly Thompson. For 7 years, her heartbeat was the rhythm of Beyoncé's world. As her drummer, she wasn't just an employee. She was part of the brand's spine, the image of female power and unity. Then, in 2018, that spine shattered.
Literally shattered everything that I've tried to build after doing that work in my life. If I always said when I was a kid, I never would want to regret anything.
She went to court, not with gossip, but with a restraining order filled with allegations that defy belief. She spoke of extreme witchcraft, of dark magic used as a tool for control, of her phone being tapped, her finances sabotaged, her pet killed. The media played it for laughs. But you don't file a legal document for a laugh. You do it because you feel you have no other way to be heard. And then there is the loudest silence of all. Solange
The biggest
Knowles.
story around the world seems to be Jay-Z being attacked in the elevator by Beyonce's sister Solange. It's leading on all the newscasts. Of course, it's a hot topic here, but it's amazing how the world has let go of everything else important and is talking about this.
Her story is the Rosetta Stone for decoding everything. She didn't write a manifesto. She didn't give a tell-all interview. Her statement was made with her fists in an elevator, and her final word has been a decade of calculated, purposeful absence. When you line up Jaguar's warnings with Kimberly's sworn testimony, and then you look at Solange's retreat, a pattern emerges that can no longer be ignored. This isn't a coincidence. It's a constellation. And it points to a center of power that those on the inside are terrified of. That elevator incident was more than a viral moment. It was a public seizure, a system failure in the perfect machine. Let's break it down beyond the punches. Watch Beyoncé's body language. She isn't just stunned, she's detached. It's the posture of someone who has seen this kind of eruption before, just never in public. Jay-Z's refusal to fight back isn't just chivalry. It's the reaction of a man who knows any retaliation would be a catastrophic PR move. And the bodyguard? He didn't just try to break it up. He hit the emergency stop button. He knew this wasn't just a fight. It was a containment breach. The narrative we were fed, that this was about Jay-Z's infidelity, was a convenient, digestible story. But it falls apart under the slightest scrutiny. If Solange was the righteous defender of her sister, why is she now a ghost in that sister's life? Where is she in the family albums? Where was she during the entire Renaissance era, a celebration of the very house music that runs in their family's blood? Her name was missing from the Grammy thank you speech, a deliberate public omission. This forces a much more disturbing question. What did Solange learn in that elevator, or in the moments leading up to it, that made her permanent exile the only viable option? The fight itself looks less like an attack on Jay-Z and more like a violent, desperate reaction to something she had just discovered. It was the last time she tried to speak the truth in the only way she felt she could. And the aftermath, her effective erasure, was the consequence. Her silence today isn't a sulk, it's a testimony. It screams, I saw the cost of staying, and I wasn't willing to pay it. Now watch as the same pattern repeats itself in real time with a different player. As Sean Diddy Combs' empire is dismantled by federal investigations and harrowing lawsuits, listen to the silence from the Carter camp. It is deafening. Beyoncé, the self-professed feminist icon, has not uttered a single public word in support of Cassie or the other women who have accused her longtime colleague of horrific abuse. This from the woman who made Lemonade, an album about the pain of betrayal. Her core fans are now the ones asking, make it make sense. And they're right to ask. This isn't a minor acquaintance. This is a decades-long business and personal relationship. They have performed together, partied together, and their corporate empires have been intertwined through Rock Nation and Revolt. Her silence here is a choice, a strategic, cold, calculated business decision. It reveals that the brand of feminism is secondary to the law of the empire. Protect the inner circle at all costs. And this brings us back to Solange with stunning clarity. She didn't just see this coming. She lived it. She understood that the machine doesn't care about morality. It cares about self-preservation. By walking away, she refused to be complicit in that silence. But the story doesn't end with Solange, Kimberly, and Jaguar. The chorus of the silenced is larger than you think. Let's talk about Tiffany Haddish. In a since-deleted interview clip, she recounted a story about being invited to a party at Beyoncé and Jay-Z's house. She described an atmosphere so intense, so intimidating, that she hid in a bathroom until her friend came to rescue her. She said she felt like she wasn't supposed to be there, that it was too high level. This from a successful, famous comedian. It paints a picture of an inner circle that is not just exclusive, but intimidating by its very nature. Now, let's go deeper on Uncle Ron, the former bodyguard. His claims about Aaliyah are perhaps the most explosive, untold story in this saga. He didn't just hint at a relationship. He alleged that Aaliyah was a pivotal figure in Jay-Z's life before Beyoncé, and that her refusal to fall in line with the demands of the circle led to her being on that doomed plane.
After taking off for Florida in perfect weather, suddenly plummeted to the ground. Investigators now saying one of the engines apparently failed. Along with 8 passengers, Aaliyah.
He connects her tragic death directly to her unwillingness to play the game. When you combine this with the fact that Jay-Z's name appears on Jeffrey Epstein's flight logs, the questions become exponentially darker. We're no longer just talking about industry beef. We're venturing into a realm of power, influence, and connections that have global implications. This context makes the allegations of spiritual manipulation and control seem less like superstition and more like a metaphor for a much more tangible, frightening form of power. And what of the other casualties? The pattern is clear. Carrie Hilson. Her career mysteriously flatlined after perceived dices. Rachel Roy became the face of Becky with the good hair. and was virtually hunted off the internet by the Bayhive with no protection from the woman who sparked the fire. Aaliyah. Her potential rivalry and personal connection, as alleged by Uncle Ron, ended in tragedy. Solange saw this pattern forming in real time. She saw the control, the ruined careers, the whispered about tragedies. The elevator wasn't the cause. It was the final symptom. It was the moment she realized she was either part of the system or she was a target of it. She chose to become a ghost in their narrative because it was safer than being a character in it. So, where does that leave us? We have a sister who chose obscurity over opulence, a drummer who chose the courtroom over the concert hall, a singer who chose to scream the truth even when everyone called her crazy, and a bodyguard who decided his loyalty to the truth outweighed his loyalty to his former employers. They all point to the same conclusion. The glittering empire of Beyoncé and Jay-Z is built on a foundation of enforced silence. Solange's distance is the ultimate confirmation. She isn't just absent, she is a living, breathing repudiation of their world. While Beyoncé sings about liberation, her own sister liberated herself by escaping the very cage that fame built. Solange's silence isn't empty, it's the most profound statement she could ever make. She broke the blueprint, and in doing so, she showed everyone what it truly costs to have a seat at that table. Anyway, that's it for the video, folks. Let me know in the comments. Do you think Solange will ever break her silence? And what would it take for her to do so?